Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be walking through how to go about installing the Go or Golang compiler on a Windows-based operating system. Specifically, I'm going to be showing you how you can install an older version of the compiler since Google, the maintainers of Go, tend to put out two major updates per year. And that's a pretty fast update cadence for a programming language, and there might be some situations where you need to have a development environment targeting an older version of the language, so this video will show you how you can get that set up. Additionally, I'm also going to walk through the process of installing VS Code or Visual Studio Code, which is a very popular text editor for software development. In particular, after installing VS Code on the machine, I'm going to show you how you can set up and configure the Go extension inside of the VS Code marketplace to work correctly with the older version of the compiler that we'll go ahead and installed. So with all that said, let's just jump right in. The first thing I'm going to do is navigate over to where I can download the Go compiler. I'll put a direct link to the download page in the description of the video, but the easiest way is really just to go into your address bar and type Golang. And now you'll see the very first thing that's going to pop up is the Go programming language. I'll click on that. You'll probably get to a screen that looks like this where we're going to download the compiler. So we're just going to click download. And then this is, of course, the address that you're going to end up wanting to go to for that. And this actually is a page that shows all of the versions of the compiler that they have archived. So the latest at the time of this recording is 1.26.5. They also keep the second to latest version in the top part here. But if you want an older version, and that's kind of the point of this video, is to show if you ever needed to target an older version, they do actually, if you scroll down here, they do actually give those available, and that's in the archived versions. You just have to click show. And then you can see they have lots of versions going way, way back. So I'm just going to kind of purposely pick an older version just because I want to showcase what that experience will look like if you need to do that. So here we go. We got Go 1.20.5. That's a pretty old version. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. You can see there's all the different ways you can install it. They have them for Mac, they have them for Linux, but today in this video I'm going to be showing how you can do it for Windows. Since I am running this inside of a Windows sandbox that is running off of my host computer, which is on a Intel or AMD based computer, I'm going to be using the AMD 64 installer. So you can just click this one right here, and that'll go ahead and start the download. All right, now that it's been downloaded, I'm going to go ahead and just start running the installer. And we're just going to wait for it to prep. Okay, now that it's done prepping, we can go ahead and click the next button to get the show started. Yes, I'm going to accept the license agreement. And make note, you can make note here of where it's planning on installing everything on this sandbox. So C, programming files, and Go. That's a pretty standard location. Click next and let it go ahead and start installing. Now that it's installed, we can click finish, and we should now have the Go compiler installed on the machine. A real easy way to test whether that was successful would be to just go ahead and click on the window key here and then start typing PowerShell. And I'm just going to navigate us over to the PowerShell CLI. I'm going to make that a little bigger so you can see what I'm doing here. All right, and then once you open up PowerShell, to just verify that it got installed correctly, you can type Go and then type version. And if you see this pop out, then that means it was installed successfully. If something else happens, like it says like Go, not a recognized command or anything like that, then that means something went wrong with your installation and you're probably going to have to reinstall. But since we are getting the correct thing here, that lets us know everything went well. The other command you could probably do if you're interested is do go env, and that'll show all of the environment variables related to the Go compiler installed on the machine. You can see there's a fair number of them here, but probably the most notable ones that would verify that the Go installation went through successfully is you can see that, remember when we were installing it and it asked where it would like to install, that's the Go root, and that is exactly where it said it was going to install it. See program files Go. The other somewhat useful one for you to know for Go development would probably be the Go path, although this is becoming a little bit old school, and that's this one right here. And on this machine, it would have installed it here. Again, I'm running this through the Windows sandbox, so it's using a sort of generic user account called DAG utility account, all right, yours would likely show your actual user account on the Windows machine. But this all looks good. Looks like everything was installed the way I expected it to, so I can close this window. The next step for our journey will be to install and configure VS Code. Again, I'll add a link down in the description about where to go to directly get to the download page, but the easiest way is to, of course, just go to the internet, type VS Code, and it's going to usually be the very first one you're going to see. I'm going to open that up. Now, for VS Code, I'm going to do something that's a little different. For the majority of people watching this video, you're just going to click on this button right here, and it's going to immediately download the VS Code installer, which is exactly what you want. Now, because I'm running it inside of a Windows sandbox, which by default runs everything as an administrator, if I were to try to run the normal installer for VS Code, I'm going to get a few weird messages warning me that I'm not, doing it as a system administrator. To avoid that, I'm going to go ahead and download the system version of the installer. But to do that, I'm just going to click on Other Platforms, and I'm going to use this system installer. Again, this will make no difference through the installation process. I'm doing this because I'm running it in a sandbox. For your experience, for the majority of people watching this video, you're just going to do the normal user installer. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and pick the 64-bit version for the system installer. It's going to start that download. All right, now that the download is completed, I can run the installer. Again, I'm going to accept the license agreement. Again, it's going to just show me where it's planning on installing it on the machine, or in this case, my sandbox. That's a fine location. If you want it to be in your start menu, you can just click next here, or if you don't want it to be in your start menu, you can check this box and it won't let it. I'm fine with it being in the start menu. Now on this spot right here, I'm actually going to take a moment to, I'll even stop and zoom in for a minute, just so you can see what this looks like. So this is a screen during the installation process that you might want to pay a little bit of attention to. So I strongly recommend checking this box and this box when you're installing VS Code, and this will just allow you to be able to open up VS Code from the context menu when you right click on either a folder or a directory, or even just somewhere inside of a folder like as a file context menu. And that's a convenient thing to be able to do. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to demonstrate that on this machine because again, I am running in a sandbox environment and I've noticed it doesn't work all the time. But in general, these are really handy features, so I strongly recommend clicking these. And then that way you'll have that option if you want to open up VS Code in the future from that context menu. Okay, so I'm going to click next. And then I'm going to hit, this is just a confirmation page, so it's telling me everything I selected, that all looks good. So let's go ahead and install. Okay, everything finished as I expected. So now I'm gonna go ahead and click the finish button. I don't want to launch VS Code immediately because I do want to talk briefly about that those checkboxes I mentioned. So I'm gonna just have it finish up the installation. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize the browser now. And just to showcase how you would go about doing some basic development in Golang, I'm gonna create a folder here on the desktop. So I'm gonna right click, I'm going to select new folder, and then I'm just going to have that be the location where all of the source code for my Go development would be happening. So I'm going to just name this something really generic like project. Okay, so this is where my project's going to be. And if it was installed and it actually worked correctly, what you should be able to do is right click here and then click show more options. And again, I was kind of expecting this. It didn't work correctly in this sandbox environment, but for most users, if you check those two boxes for the context menu, you should see some options here that will allow you to open with code. And that's a really handy and convenient way of being able to launch VS Code from the context menu, and it'll open you directly in the folder that you started with. So that's a really handy trick. I'm sorry I can't demo it here, but for those of you who don't have that option, whether it's because your machine was having this problem, or maybe you just prefer to open it a different way, there is of course a different way to do this. You can just go right here through the window key and type code. All right, and notice how VS Code is now an option on the list. I'm going to go ahead and just launch it that way. All right. When I first get in here, it's going to try to have me sign in through GitHub. If you have a GitHub account and you would like to link that to your VS Code, you're welcome to do so. I'm not going to be doing that for the purposes of this video, so I'm just going to continue without signing in. I'm going to just go ahead and pick this dark mode. And I don't really feel like setting up agents or anything else, so I'm just going to go ahead and click the X here to get out of that. This will take you to the sort of the landing page. The landing page is the welcome page. I don't really prefer to see this every time I open up the program, so I'm just going to uncheck this little box. I'm going to close the welcome page. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bigger. I'm going to close the AI chat. All right, so you'll notice that because I didn't launch VS Code from that context menu, that I'm actually not associated with a folder right now. And so if I click on this Explorer, right, this will actually show you, hey, you don't have an open folder yet. Would you like to do that? Right, and this is a really good idea. And if you're not familiar with what this actually does for you is, well, let's just put it this way. This is the normal File Explorer, right? I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm going to go to that project folder that I made on the desktop. Right? And notice how there's nothing in it right now. I would like to have VS Code associated with this folder. So to do that, I can literally just click the Open Folder button here. Again, I'll have to navigate over to it. There's Project, selecting it. And as soon as I do that, it actually closes and relaunches VS Code. Again, I have to close all this stuff out. But notice now over in the Explorer, it actually says Project here. And this is really handy because this is allowing me to basically, whatever I do here is going to happen here. It'll actually put a file here. So for instance, if I go ahead and create our first Go program or Go source code file, I'll do main.go, let's say, and I hit enter. Well, first thing it's going to try to do is it's actually going to go ahead and try to install the Go extension, which is what I mentioned earlier. And we are going to do that. And I'm just going to go ahead and do it manually later. But if you wanted to, you could absolutely just click this install button. But I'm going to show you how you could do it a different way later. But now that I've done that, there is a file in the project folder. So by doing that right here, it actually did exactly what I wanted. If I go open to that folder right now, there's main. Right? Now I need to save this file so all the information will be saved there. So I'm going to go ahead and just maybe do some real quick programming here. And I'll just hit Control S, right? And again, if I go back over here, notice now there is a file in that folder. So what's happening in here will happen in here, okay? So that's the whole point of having it opened in a folder. That's why you want to have VS Code opened in a folder. I don't really care about this message right here. Okay, so now the last thing I'm going to show you how to do is go ahead and install and configure the Go extension. Now by default, the Go extension is assuming that you have the latest version of the Go compiler installed on the machine. Since that is not the case for us, there's a possibility that the Go extension simply will not work. So if you have an old enough version of the Go compiler installed on your machine, it won't work with the latest Go extension, which is what I expect to happen here because I picked a pretty old version of Go. So let's just confirm that by going over here to the extensions. That's what this little icon right here is for, extensions. And in VS Code, there are many, many extensions, hundreds of extensions for various things, but one of them is, of course, the Go extension. It's showing up in the recommendation list here because I created a file that had the Go extension in the file name. But if it didn't show up here, you can easily find it by just searching for Go, and it'll be literally the first one. If you click right here, it'll open up the little page for the Go extension itself, lets you see everything you need to see on it. And funnily enough, it will only let you install, at least initially, the latest version of the extension. So if you click this little drop down, it really doesn't give you any choice. This is literally all you have. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to click install. It's going to ask if I trust the Go team. It's the same team that, well, it's actually a different team. It's the Microsoft team who makes the extension because they're the ones who make VS Code. But you can trust Microsoft to do this extension. So hit trust and install. And it also is asking if I want to trust the workspace I'm in. And that what it's talking about here is the workspace is actually just that folder that I created. So I do want to allow VS Code to be able to run its operations in that folder. That's 100% true for me. So yes, go ahead and trust that. It should only take a second to install, but now you're seeing the problem that I was alluding to earlier, which is that the minimum supported Go version is 1.23. Okay, so 1.23 is the minimum that this particular version of the Go extension will support. Since I installed Go.20.5, it's saying, hey, this isn't going to work, right? So we can go ahead and just show it right here, and it also shows you in the little output here, hey, the language server is now disabled because you're trying to install a version of a Go extension that literally won't work with your version of Go, right? So to get around this, all you have to do is actually tell it to use an older version of the Go extension. So I'm going to go ahead and close this right here. And at least initially, it won't give you that option. I think this is kind of funny. You can't do it. So you have to actually close this page, all right? And then you have to reopen the page. And now look, when you reopen the page, you have some new choices here because it's already installed. But now there's uninstall, but right next to uninstall is this little drop-down menu here. And the drop-down menu is going to let you install a specific version of the Go extension. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay. Now, I was a little bit coy here when I earlier, said that you're going to have to pick it, and like as if I was picking a random one. I knew which version of the Go compiler I was picking, and I'm not going to go into how I figured this out. You can just Google around, but basically, you can figure out which version of the Go extension supports the version of Go that you're running. And I happen to know that version 0.42.1 of the Go extension will support Go 1.20.5. So I'm just going to click on that. It goes ahead and immediately installs it. And now I have a version of the Go extension that will support the compiler that I'm actually running on. So to be able to make that work, I'm going to now go ahead and close this now that it's actually using it. Also, you can note that it's now asking, hey, do you want to update back to the version that you were just on? So the Go extension sort of assumes that you're always going to be using the latest version of the extension because you always would have like the latest version of Go. Obviously, that's not true. It's the whole point of this video. So you can just sort of like ignore this little update thing it's asking for. You probably also ignore this little one that shows up over the extensions. That's what that's about. And now I'm going to go ahead and just restart VS Code so that you can see what this little output window is going to look like. Because right now it's saying that the language server is disabled. That's because it still hasn't updated from the new version of Go, or the rather older version of Go extension that I installed. So I'm going to close that down. Again, I'm going to go ahead and just go in here, VS Code, relaunches. And look, as soon as I do that, look what it's trying to do now. In the output, you can see it's actually now trying to go about installing the Go extension. You can see down here that there's a little spinning thing. And see how it's saying Go PLS static check. It's actually doing it. And hey, there it is, installing two tools, Go PLS and the static check. Installing the Go PLS tools, it succeeded. All tools successfully installed. You are ready to go. Running language server this version, and it supports Go 1.20.5, which is the version that I have installed on the machine. So everything is working the way I expect it to. This should give me all of the nice syntax highlighting and all the neat features that the Go extension allows for. So I'm going to go ahead and just write the rest of this very simple application to showcase how you can do your development. So I'm just going to write a real simple hello world. Let's do import fmt. Hello world, that should do it. I'm going to save the file. As soon as I saved it, everything should be good. Notice I'm getting all these little icons now for like show code actions and whatnot. Lots of good stuff happening. A lot of this is happening from the Go extension. And then of course, if I want to run this code, I would want to open the terminal. Now, instead of having to actually open up a separate PowerShell window to run the code, this is one of the advantages of VS Code. I can click right here, run the terminal. It runs a new terminal, and of course it is in PowerShell automatically. I'm also automatically located at the folder that I'm at right now. So this is I'm in the project folder. It navigated me straight there. I can now just do Go version again just to confirm, see how it's still the version I want. And if I want to run this code, go run main.go, and there's hello world. If I want to make changes to my file from Matt, Control S to save, run it again. Hello from Matt. So there it is. I have everything set up. I'm using an older version of the Go compiler, and I'm using VS Code, and I've configured VS Code's Go extension to be able to support that version of the compiler. This is how you can do your software development, even if you want to use an older version of Go. Well, I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and thanks for watching.